it leaves a lot to be desired. Okay, so one thing that I don't have a whole lot of is creativity or the artistic abilities. So hopefully they tried to show you something like this. Okay, and it's not like a special type of Burger King key. Okay, so hopefully they tried to show you that this was a neuron, that these were those dendrites, the nerve cell body, the axon, and the terminal ends. All right, so did anybody see something similar to that? Okay, so this is usually a representation of what we see for a nerve cell. So if we think about nerve cells, and then nerve cells have support cells, where you talk about neuroglia or glial cells. Okay, glial cells are support cells. We'll get more into that in another chapter. But glial cells are for support. They help to bring in nutrients to a neuron, and they help to get rid of waste of a neuron. So if we look at this exercise right here, neuroglia would be the support cells, okay? Neurons, of course, that actual nerve cell. So the blank, A or B, helps support, insulate, and protect cells. B, that would be the neuroglia. Number 2, demonstrate irritability. Did I give you 2 of the same?
No, it's something different.
No, we actually have those. It was both of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 2, demonstrate that ability to be irritable and be able to have conductivity, and then transmit electrical signals from an area of one body from an area of the body to another. A or B? A. Number 3, they get to release neurotransmitters, which is their product that they make. A or B? A. Okay? Because the nerve cell, that is the actual cell. So that means here in the nerve cell body, we're going to have a nucleus. We're going to have something called Nissl bodies, which is a real huge cluster of ribosomes and that sort of thing. But what will happen is they of course have the chromosomes. The chromosomes have genes. Genes code for a protein, and that's the only thing, that's the only product a cell can make. In this case, that product is termed a neurotransmitter. So that little protein that gets made will travel and be released at the area of those terminal ends. So that nerve cell is the actual functioning cell, making that neurotransmitter. They are amitotic. First of all, let's think a little bit back to general bio. What is mitosis?
Division of cells.
Cell division. So if you put an A in front of that, A would tell us what
Negative, but they don't.
they don't. Okay? So amitotic being without mitosis, meaning these cells are not going to duplicate. So would that be A or B? B. A. Okay? Because nerve cells do not duplicate. They are one of the 2 cells of the body, and muscle cells and nerve cells do not duplicate. Number 5, they are able to divide and are therefore responsible for brain neoplasms. B. Okay, the next one, which hopefully,
I didn't get a second one.
you didn't get.
Yeah, I only got one.
Oh, how how did I miss y'all? And who else?
You didn't know.
Okay. Not sure how I did that, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, so hopefully, kind of answered some of these when I did this, okay? So, releases neurotransmitters. B. Conducts local electrical currents toward the cell body. C. Our dendrite. Increases the speed of impulse transmission. A.
D.
D. The myelin sheath. If you remember, it talked about how we have a lipid wrapping, had the Schwann cell, and it laid it down and created the myelin sheath. And then in between were those nodes of Ranvier. Okay. Actually, we'll be getting to that again, okay? But to give you a quick rundown, we have what's called white matter and gray matter in the nervous system. And the white matter is termed that because this lipid layer that's getting created around those axons, it has the whitish look to it. And that means that there's a lot of this wrapping around these nerve cells. And they're there for protection, and believe it or not, they help speed up a reaction, or the action potential, I should say. So they actually speed it up. Should have put on my glasses. Location of the nucleus. E. Generally conducts impulses away from the cell body. A. Clustered ribosomes and rough ER. Good deal. Okay. So that kind of brings us to the point that we are today with Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is, we're going to look at the spinal cord. Now, in thinking about the spinal cord, remember, this material that we're looking at in the nervous system, this material is protected by bone. And I used to have a nice one that somebody please this cat. All right, so when we think about the spinal cord, everything that we're going to see about the brain and the spinal cord, one thing for us to kind of note and make note of, it's all encased in bone. All right? That tells me something very important, is that this tissue is very important. Okay? So we're going to look at the spinal cord. We're going to look at nerves. Now, have you ever been to the doctor? Maybe there was a poster on the wall, and it kind of had this view of all the nerves exiting the spinal cord and coming around and showing the area of the body that it serves. Okay? Bring that picture to mind as we look at this very difficultly shaped, which is not supposed to be, I don't know who kind of messed with it, but think about how this nerve that they're trying to show, exiting through the vertebra, okay, that they're trying to show, think about that nerve continuing around to the area that it serves, okay? We just don't have that full view with this model, okay? So we're going to kind of look at this, look at these, and then what's called a somatic reflex. What does the term somatic mean?
Involuntary.
Body. If you've ever been out to Short Pump, to the mall, there's a store called Soma, and it sells stuff for the body. Anytime you hear the term soma, soma means body, okay? Now I kind of want to, once again, everything we study in this topic, we got to remember, we got to think outside the box, okay? When you think about a reflex, yes, voluntary, involuntary, okay? Is everybody kind of familiar with that? Okay? But we think about that in relationship to what happens with our skeletal muscle, all right? And mainly because that tends to be what gets to be the focus. And so, for our purposes right now, we are going to look at what happens with a reflex, okay? You know, go to the doctor and you got to go through the little, you know, checkup, and got you sitting up on the table, knees kind of, you know, legs kind of hanging down, come up to you with the little hammer, ka-ching, and, you know, your leg goes out and all that sort of thing. And then something that might be involuntary, like maybe a spasm or something, what we're going to focus on right now is going to be related to what happens with our skeletal muscle. What other two types of muscle do we have in the body? Smooth, remember? Smooth, cardiac. What is that in the body? What in our body is made up of smooth muscle? Lungs,
Your stomach and organs.
organs. And then, like the name implies, cardiac is the heart. Heart does its own thing. Wonderful organ. Y'all like being here? Maybe not here, okay? But, you know, here, okay? Well, good thing we got the heart that lets us do that. So, we're going to look at it in relationship to what happens with our muscular tissue, and then in later chapters, we're going to see how this nervous system that we have is going to also innervate organs of the body. It innervates the heart, but please note this strongly. It does not in any way control what the heart does. Okay? Nothing. All right? It can affect the heart, meaning increase or decrease that heart rate, but it does not control it. Other areas of the body, it controls. So what do we see with this nervous system? And with my spinal cord, the part encased in the vertebra. It begins when it exits out the foramen magnum. Does everybody remember that in the skull?